Changing the Sales Game on webtalkradio.com. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. I'm excited that you're here this week. So here's the deal, right? Changing our sales game, change in general, throws us for a loop. So in the show notes, I have my communication style assessment. It's my gift to you. You know the deal. You'll get 2 reports, one spotlighting your natural communication superpowers. That's important to know. The flip side, your lowest score. To me, that's the more important report because it really spotlights a potential blind spot. So again, the link in the show notes, please take it. You'll get those 2 reports. And that is my gift to you, hopefully to help you change your sales game with ease and grace. So today, my motivational quote that I chose is by Rob Garf. And he says, when developing AI, whether you focus on top line growth or bottom line profitability, start with the customer and work backwards. So this quote, I think, is essential for salespeople, sales teams, so that we understand that sales has always been about building relationships and the human touch or the client's experience or prospect's experience. At least that has been the source of my success. It's got to be human. It can't just be technology driven. Now, early in my career, 4 decades ago, we didn't have computers, let alone any type of technology. We were really full on analog. Yet the computers, the internet, and other technological advances have really helped salespeople function at a higher and so much more efficient level. So should AI be any different than these past innovations? No, AI is a tool we need to utilize and understand. So why is AI hyped up right now? And how does it offer a path to simplifying business processes, especially for sales, right? We want that face-to-face with the client. So today, my guests and I, we're going to also discuss how data and AI can accelerate us into the next industrial revolution and how business could adapt to it properly. So who is my amazing guest today? His name is Ethan Casin. He is an accomplished professional with extensive experience in consulting, data analysts, and machine learning. With a proven track in data science and analytics, Ethan is a valuable asset to any organization looking to enhance its market position and achieve sustained growth. His expertise and dedication make him a standout professional in his field. Please help me welcome Ethan to the show. So thanks for being on, kiddo.
Thanks for having me, Connie.
So before we begin, I'm going to be really honest with you. Your genius is definitely my blind spot. So I'm going to ask you questions. Please don't think I'm stupid because I really am not going to understand, I think, some of the things you're saying. So if I don't, I know some of my listeners may not, so I might ask for definitions and clarification. All righty. So I'm excited, Ethan, because again, this is a blind spot for me, and I'm always looking to grow my knowledge base so that I could be more effective with my clients as well, or be able to share resources with them. Cool?
Yeah, cool.
Okay. All right. So what do you do as a data scientist?
That's actually a good question. So what I do as a data scientist is I help businesses take an understanding of their own data. So if you were to have, let's say, a business, let's say you're an entrepreneur, you have all of this information, maybe click rate, open rates, things like you typically see in Google Analytics or something else. What a data scientist does is actually try to take all of that data, put it in a way that you can easily understand it, and try to tell a story about it. More often than not, we actually try to help predict the future through math and machine learning, and so also all sorts of those things. So even before ChatGPT, we have been developing a lot of AI systems or machine learning systems well before then. So if you don't believe me yet, so as your listeners, if they're not also familiar, AI has been here a long time ago, like let's say in the 90s, so to speak. And so all of these things, all of these techniques, we're just using it in a more streamlined way. And because of new technologies and new computing power, we're enabled to do more complex stuff and cooler things as well, like ChatGPT and also other generative AI technologies. So that's what I do as a data scientist.
So really, there's mining of information and then organizing it. So people like me, or executive summary kind of thing, we could take all of that information, streamline it into a user report. I know I'm simplifying this, but then now I'm in a position of power because I understand the customer's needs, or I understand what the trends are in the market, or whatever that data that we're looking at, I can extrapolate what I need for me, for my department, for my company, whatever it might be. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, that's actually exactly right. So one of the things as well as a data scientist, it's one of our responsibilities to make sure that the client understands their own data, but at the same time, they also get actionable insights from us. So that's a key term there, like actionable insight. It doesn't matter if it's just like a cool insight, like let's say, oh, people like to shop at Christmas. Like, yeah, what am I going to do with that? As a data scientist, it's also a responsibility to make sure that the insights that we generate are actually practical steps to make sure that the business or even any kind of organization knows what to do in spite of all of this information, all of these things that is happening in the world. How could we properly inform them on what is the best course of action? So that is, in a nutshell, what also we do. So yeah, that's actually spot on.
And I like how you said, Ethan, the story, because numbers are numbers, but it tells a story. So, right, sales. I can go in and look at an individual, look at an organization, look at a department, and just say, listen, how many phone calls are they making? How is that turning into appointments? Those appointments, what's the close ratio? So now you have data. Okay, well, what does that data mean now? Now we have to put the story behind it. So if we're making all these phone calls, but people aren't getting appointments, where's the gap? Where's the glitch? Maybe they don't have the skill on the phone, or maybe it's something else. Maybe the phone for that industry isn't the way to do the outreach. So again, it tells the story so we could peel back the onion, if you will, to fully understand my market, my business, my client, et cetera. So it really does give us extensive data points, but then you tell the story behind it for the client so they actually know what to do with that data. And now I can internalize it and say, what do my people need? What does my company need? What resources do we need? What resources do we have that we're not using? All of that. Now I'm in a position of power to save money, make money, or whatever it might be. Yes. Am I understanding that? Yeah. I love
that is
it.
actually great fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's so interesting because again, this is very foreign to me because you guys are young. You understand technology. When I was young, we were analog, and I joke when I say that, but we were analog. So all of this is very new. And the other thing I want to comment on is that ChatGPT is just the mainstream AI. You do behind this. So ChatGPT is just scouring the internet for information. I put in a prompt, it spits information out. You guys are the ones who takes all of that spitting out information and decides whether it's relevant to my company or not. So you're even more behind the scenes than ChatGPT. Does that make sense? What I just said?
Yeah, that's actually a very generous way and very accurate of describing it, what I do.
I'm smarter than I think, Ethan. You know what it is, though? I really am so eager to learn this stuff because I do see, especially for salespeople, our job should be out with the people, not doing reports and updating data and all this stuff. So that if I do my call report and I send it into Salesforce or whatever, you guys behind the scenes, right, create those data points or those reports for the manager to understand what's going on. So it's such a user tool, such a needed user tool. Are you finding that your clients are apprehensive, curious? Like what's the vibe when you meet with people and you talk about this stuff? What is the vibe you're getting from people? I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. So I guess I'll try to address that question a little bit twofold. So I agree with you. Like sales is inherently something more human, right? And as a data scientist, we were trained to kind of look beyond the numbers. So it's so easy within our field to look at things as a number. Let's say mortgage rates, inflation rate. But a lot of times, people who are not fully trained on data and analytics will treat these numbers as numbers, but they don't see unemployment rate, people losing their jobs, people dying, or people having a really hard time with life. So to your point, for us as a responsible data scientist, we also need to be having that empathy and then that level of grounding for us to be able to see that what we're building will actually affect millions, if not billions of people around the world. So to your question on how do people typically react? First one is they're curious, like what is a data scientist? So their first entry point usually as for what is a data scientist is Harvard Business Review's article, I think it was 2012, if I'm not mistaken, or 2015, that says that the data scientist is the 21st century's sexiest job ever. I don't agree. So I'm not that sexy, but all I can tell is it's like a buzzword. It's something that catches people's eye and even something that kind of catches their attention as well. So how people react often with when I say I'm a data scientist, I can help you with your business. They would be very curious. How could be a researcher try to help a business, or like this kid try to teach me about my business through data that I understand like fully for decades and decades of experience.
Yeah.
So what we typically show them is, look, you have this data set, and you probably didn't know a lot of these things as well with some little math and so on and so forth. You get to see beyond the numbers, and you can see sometimes a lot of the information that you may not have seen previously before.
That's right.
So they react with a kind of curiosity, excitement, but at the same time, a bit of a question mark on their face, because how are we going to be different than what they typically do?
That's
And
right.
that's kind of hard to say. Like if you think about it, it's kind of hard to beat like a classic cheeseburger if you're gonna make a cheeseburger, right? Right. Like, for example, if like fine dining, how can you elevate like a cheeseburger, like everyone loves, something like that? So us, we are treated as if we are typically something exciting to engage with. But at the same time, we are also given this level of skepticism that how could we provide more to an existing business? And there's a lot of things going on in my field as well. And I think there's a lot of ground to cover what that is,
Yeah.
which may not be which may not be scope on
Yeah.
this discussion. But typically that's what they give, the reaction that they give me, the curiosity, kind of excitement, at the same time some level of skepticism as to how we could help them.
Yeah. And here's the thing, right? If I don't understand something, there's a lot of people, and I don't think professionals, business owners maybe have less of this gene, if you will, but it's, I don't understand it, I'm going to put it on ignore. And that's really dangerous because the world keeps moving forward and we get left behind. So I don't care if you're a professional working for an organization or you have your own business, we have to tap into this technology and this knowledge. And the other thing, and full transparency, guys, Ethan is helping me out with a project. I met with him and I asked a million questions. I have an idea, right? It's an idea. Can it even be done? I don't have the scope to understand if it can or cannot be done. And when I ran by him, he's like, oh, and it was like, really? And, but your level of, yeah, like this is not a heavy lift. Yeah, there's some things we have to do, but we certainly can create what you're looking to and make sure we look at the data information correctly. So again, I don't know what you're going to do. I don't understand what you're going to do. I know my idea can be brought to market. I don't know how to do it. And here's the other thing I just want to share with you. After you and I have met and spoken and all these things, that you validated my idea, that not only you thought it was a good idea, but that it actually can be done and it'll be very useful for me and my clients. Otherwise, why create anything if it's not a useful tool? I was in a networking event and I had introduced you to Sharon Procyse, a little shout out to our buddy there, who's just lovely. But I was in a networking event and we were talking about future business. We were masterminding and strategizing. And I said, you met Ethan, Shannon, this is our future. My peers, right? If we're in our 40s, 50s, and 60s in the marketplace, and again, I don't care what your role is within an organization or a business owner. And I said that to everybody in the room, we need to tap into the Gen Zs like yourself, who are the data scientists, who are the scientists behind what's happening from an AI and technology standpoint. It's beyond our scope of understanding, which is dangerous, because if I don't hire someone or speak to someone like you, right, if you're in my network, I'm going to leave money on the table, and my business is going to take longer to create or do or achieve whatever that goal is without having some of this technology and understanding behind. I'm never going to be able to understand it, Ethan. I'm past that point of fully understanding what you do. I understand what the benefit is to me as a business owner. Did that make sense? Just from the skepticism, people who are skeptical, my recommendation is be curious and be excited. The skepticism, the numbers are the numbers, right? You guys are able to mine it. And again, I love that word story. Share the story behind the numbers, because numbers are just numbers. What do we do with it? And that's where you come in. Not only do you mine the numbers, but you can actually tell the story as well to help people like myself. So the people in their 40s, 50s, 60s listening to this, we need these Gen Z data scientists to help us get to that next level, because we're never, and even if we get to the next level, it's going to take us a heck of a lot longer than I believe it should. Yeah, that's my rant on you guys, on Gen Zs.
Well, I feel like a lot of people could benefit if they just collaborate, no matter, let's say,
Right.
the age, like the borders or so on.
That's right.
The world is becoming more and more interconnected, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of more benefit if we could just bridge and then connect.
Absolutely.
One of the things as well, just kind of share to you as well. In our field, we see that people, let's say a psychologist or a biologist, will collaborate to, let's say, a computer scientist and even a data scientist to produce new AI technologies.
Yeah.
How, like, how could you imagine, like, let's say a biologist, a psychologist, a computer scientist make something that can revolutionize the world? And one of those things is, if we try to connect more with people, we get to have this rich treasure trove of information and
Agree.
make a lot of things with
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Agree. And the AI is the future. We know that. So we have to tap into it. And what we don't know, don't be afraid of. Embrace it. I love curiosity and enthusiasm. And I agree. The collaboration is just so freaking critical. And again, I don't care what size the organization, we have to have some level of you within that organization, if that makes sense. Now, before this Gen AI stuff, how did businesses leverage data and even early AI technologies? Was it more cumbersome? Is it more useful? Like, how did we do it? How did we leverage that data?
Yeah. So I guess before, let's say, more analog. Let's go a little bit more analog. Let's go to the past. So people typically use spreadsheets or even just use their notebooks, right? So people would try to compute things, let's say their taxes on a sheet of paper, so on and so forth. And then we go a little bit advanced. We have the Excel spreadsheet. So we can put a little bit more organization. You can organize it by month, by year. Then you can start in one place. So that's also kind of a way people do it before. And if you think about it, people actually do a lot of the machine learning way before machine learning was even a buzzword. So an example is like sales. If you want to know how many clients you need how many clients you need to reach this amount of sales. So let's say if you plot it in a graph, you have your number of clients on the x-axis and your sales at the y. If you plot it out, you can actually find that if you just get more clients, you get more sales. So it's like a straight line. You already learn, a lot of people actually learn this in high school. It's the linear regression thing. So a lot of people actually know what machine learning is, they just didn't realize it. So how do businesses do it before? So typically, people would just say a projection. Let's say, all right, what are we gonna expect in the next coming months if we have 10 clients? How many sales? Based on the cost, what's gonna be our net profit? So people typically do that already, before even all of these hype with Gen AI. People go a step further. So now we have programming languages, we have better computers. We can now do better simulations, approximations, and all of these things incrementally add up to something more complex. So people now, even before, let's say ChatGPT, a little bit more closer to home. Before ChatGPT came out with OpenAI and Sam Altman, businesses were already using their own data from images to sound to like spreadsheets. And they wanted to see how do this hundreds of columns, this thousands of images, this thousands and hundreds of thousands of audio, how could we try to find something insightful? People already use it. Facebook already did it. Google as a simple implementation. It's just how do we show what is the most relevant page to people? You just rank it. AI has already been in our lives, more ingrained with our lives. We just didn't realize it at the time. So businesses actually utilized AI before to kind of help them inform their own decisions, to enable actionable insights. And the key driver or the key, let's say, value proposition of AI is actually forecasting, predicting the future based on historical events. So it's kind of like reading history, right? So if you kind of read history, you get to see like there's a lot of patterns cycling over and over in human history. It's kind of the same idea with AI. You notice, oh, if every December I have a spike in sales, I could expect another spike in sales in December. Something like that. But AI does a little bit more complex. You can get to these little nuances in your information and behavior of people. And that's how we kind of leverage AI. How do we kind of help people more and be more informed? And how can businesses adapt based on this information?
And the thing is with this, with what you're doing for your clients, we're getting the results faster. We're getting there faster because, you know, like you said, the spreadsheets and stuff, you know, I use spreadsheets too, of course. But if we could take that information and pull it out and organize it in a way that I could predict my busiest months, or I mean, you could do that on spreadsheets. I get that. I'm keeping this very simple. But if I could go into predictive mode versus just analytics mode, that's going to help me get to the results I want much, much quicker. And that's the name of the game. And as a business owner, again, you know, I'm loving on you, my friend, because I need you. This is a big blind spot. So I hope other business owners, but I hope that my executives at organizations are listening to this. If you're unsure, you know, I agree with what you said before, Ethan. Collaborate with someone, ask these questions, because it might be more relevant to your business, whatever that might be, than you think. And, or it might actually increase your profitability exponentially by tapping into this. What we don't know becomes dangerous because it's a blind spot. We don't even know what to ask. So I love that word that you used before of collaboration. It's a conversation because, and when you and I was like, here's my thought. I didn't even articulate it well because I knew what I wanted it to do, but I didn't know how to get there. And you were like, yeah, we could do, and I was like, what? You understood what my request was, but you saw behind the scenes that I didn't have the capacity to do. So it's just so impressive, all of this information. Here's the thing. I think part of the fear, Ethan, comes from, do you hear people say, especially in your industry, being a data scientist, will AI replace my job? So what can business leaders do to properly manage the AI to help their employees know you might become obsolete? Stay relevant. That's my recommendation, right? Learn then. Or how can we embrace it to embellish our role, not minimize our role, right? So do you hear that a lot?
I do actually. So I often start with like a little anecdote or like a analogy, so to speak. So I'm not sure if you know, or if your listeners know, but ATMs before were people.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So people would often go to banks, ask to withdraw their money from an actual person. That was the only sole job of the teller.
That's right.
Way before that. Then we have the ATM, the automated teller machine. Now, we do still have tellers, at least in the Philippines, I guess.
We
But
do in the United States, yes.
yeah, Right, yeah. So you still have tellers, but actually they still do their original function of withdrawing and depositing money. They can take that in, they can send it out, but they actually have another element to their job, which is to sell. It could be insurance, it could be an investment opportunity, so on and so forth. So when people ask me this question, I often ask them, well, AI probably will try to replace a lot of jobs, especially if it's repetitive, right? But a lot of the times as well, it's only going to remove or automate some tasks. And as a business leader, what's more important is to realize that for every industrial revolution, there's going to be a loss of jobs, but it is your responsibility to make sure that your employees are well taken care of. And that is where we kind of step in, how we would want to educate these leaders that to properly transition to adopt these new technologies, you have to consider the human element. Yes, you're automating a lot of tasks, but you have to take into account that you're dealing with people. So what's important here is if you cannot, or if, for example, if you can not let go of people because of like these new technologies, try to help them and then upskill them. Can you put them in another function? Can you give more tasks to them that can actually implement or even improve your business later on? Because if a computer can do a menial task, then you can still utilize these people to do something better for you,
Right.
something much more worthwhile. And that's where a lot of people miss the mark, so to speak, where I can just automate this and then just fire people. But that's not the point. You can still use people in a way that can benefit both of you. You can teach them new skills, but at the same time, help them or kind of utilize them in a way that could benefit or skyrocket your business a little bit more. Right. So people often think that AI will replace their jobs. Only if for me, in my opinion, only if you're only doing one task and you're not trying to do anything else.
Yep.
But of course, that is not the whole story. It is true, unfortunately, that AI will kind of demolish a lot of jobs, but you've also seen in a recent study that it will also create new ones, almost at the same magnitude or even more.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be more demand for new skills. If my call for business leaders is to actually help people try to learn more instead of AI replacing, to at least for your business leader audiences now. But to frame it in a way that AI will not replace the human element, but rather understand that AI is simply just created as an augmentation.
Yes.
How can people perform better with AI?
Yeah.
How can you make things more faster, make it faster, more optimized, more correct with AI without the replacement of people? If my pipe dream, to be honest, is for every industrial revolution, everyone can learn how to adapt without without actually losing their job. That's like an ideal dream, but that is one of my missions in life. So that is why, as much as possible, I try to educate people that yes, these technologies are disruptive, but it is also your responsibility to make sure your people are well taken care of. The cycle of losing jobs and cutting costs are used in a way or not actually done, but also try to refocus your energy to something more productive. So
It's
I
an
hopefully that.
enhancement. Yeah, it's a great answer, Ethan. It's an enhancement. And another thing that I think is important, and we're almost out of time, but I do want to comment on this. You know, I have a lot of peers that are my age, right? I'm at the tail end of the baby boomers, and I'm in meetings, and they say, "Oh, the technology, it's beyond me. I'm not good on email." And I sit there, and I'm blunt with people. I'm respectful, but I'm blunt, and I say to them, especially if they're business owner, be careful. You're not going to be in business much longer. The train has not only left the station, but it's a high power bullet train that's leaving. And if we don't get on, not only are we going to be left behind, we are going to be ripped apart, and we're going to go out of business. We're not going to be able to sustain. And my clients are banks. I don't know if you knew that, but my clients are financial institutions across mostly the United States. And the teller job, I remember 10 years ago when the ATMs first came out, and they have TIMs. They're machines at the teller station that you can use, not just at the ATM. Anyway, the thing was, oh, we're going to lose our jobs. And my response every time was, if you do not stay relevant, you're right, you're going to lose your job, because the world is changing quicker than our brains can anticipate. So your job, learn whatever you can about that next level up, so that, and now in banking, at least across the United States, the tellers, we're shifting and we're calling them universal bankers, so that not only I could do the teller, but then I could walk you over to the platform and open a checking account or take you to the safe deposit box. Plus I still know how to count the ATM in the vault. So my skill set has up leveled, because I'm not, and I hate to say just a teller, because no one's just anything. I think that's demeaning. But instead of having that single repetitive mode of business or job responsibilities, now we've expanded that to be this more universal perspective. So 10 years ago, and I'm going to say it again now, stay relevant. Your job is to keep learning. And as you learn, keep up leveling yourself. And the other thing you said that's really, really important is the leaders of whatever organization you're in, whether it's a bank or other, or credit union or otherwise, your job as a leader is to help your people remain relevant. So if people get left behind, is it their choice? If it's their choice, then you know what? God bless you, move on. It's your choice. But if the leader is not doing their job to grow people, to me, that is a tragedy, because that is a leader's. I take my job as a leader in my communities seriously, because this is a responsibility we have to make sure that our people are leveling up. So if you're saying to yourself, oh, this is beyond my scope, shame on you. Shame on you. You have to learn. Look, if at my age I could be curious and learn this stuff, anybody can learn this stuff. You just have to show up and be curious. Anything else before we close out, Ethan? But this is, wow. I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for our project. But is there anything else that you want to leave people to think about, to take the fear out of the equation? Maybe that's the best way to end.
Yeah, I guess to take out the fear on, at least for AI technologies, is to kind of understand it in two perspectives. Like, we have the naysayers and then we have the optimists. The naysayers feel like we have to stop, it's gonna take our jobs. And the tragedy there is, people often think that's going to be a dystopian future. The actual dystopia, as I'll try to borrow Saul Kahn's reasoning for this, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Where all of the rule followers will stop developing AI technologies, and all of the rule breakers will actually have the most advanced AI. That is actually where everything will probably collapse.
Yeah.
If you try to stop people trying to do it ethically, to do it correctly, all of the rule breakers will have done it so much more, because they can and they want to. And it's up to us to enable also a future where we can fight back.
Yeah.
The other thing is for the optimists, where, oh, AI is just going to take care of everything, right? But the problem is, what will happen if it's too much? Do you have guardrails? What if it invades on people's privacy? So there has to be some balance to kind of be in that space to create the proper guardrails for AI. But at the same time, also understand that what we're projecting to be the upcoming industrial revolution is, in the next 50 or so years, will be augmented technologies, with the rise of like ChatGPT to be like an assistant, with Apple Vision Pro, with your glasses, with Neuralink, with Elon Musk that will help people use certain technologies as well, with Google Maps. I'm not sure what the exact thing. There's going to be more augmented technologies, and AI, as it is something that will enable that future. But always understand that these things are actually just augmentations to our human intelligence.
Yes.
You can be better if you just utilize these technologies to frame it as a way that could help you be better, and understand that as a business leader, if you are a business leader, you have to help people try to adapt to these technologies. And it is also your calling to learn these things at the minimum, at the very minimum, understand that this is something that you need to learn, or is something that you need to adapt to. So
Yeah.
I guess that's the last thing I need to share.
Well said. And I agree. We do need guardrails because, and ethics, for me, it's always about ethics, Ethan. We have to do the right thing every day to help people move forward. And if we can do that with more ease and more grace and more love, I think that is important too. Now we just have technology where we can amplify that to a higher level. And again, as a business leader, I think that is our responsibility to utilize these tools efficiently and respectfully so that we don't infringe on people's privacy and all of those things. So I think the next decade is going to be super interesting for businesses with everything that's coming out. I use ChatGPT. Now I'm going to caution everybody. I use it for prompts to get me started for writing, or if I'm looking for a topic that I think might be interesting and I get it, then I make it mine. I don't ever just use ChatGPT as is, because to me, then it's not my words. It's not me behind the wheel, if you will. And I want to always make sure that my voice comes through, because I do have 40 years of experience on top of, and I can combine that with the AI now. It can amplify my message, but it makes me more efficient because I have 40 years, Ethan. So, well, Denise is my executive assistant, which is Ethan's wife. That's how I met. I've been privileged to meet Ethan. And she says, Connie, I need sales tips. And I go, give me a topic, because I have 40 years. What is the relevant topic? I have so much information. So I put into ChatGPT what I want to focus on. It comes up with information and I go, oh, I like that topic, that thought. And then I write my tip from there. I don't take it from ChatGPT. So again, utilize it makes me more efficient, but it still lets me be me, and my clients, they get the essence of me, right? Of 40 years of knowledge. The ChatGPT is a prompt for me. So again, AI isn't going to replace me, but AI sure as heck saves me a heck of a lot of time to make me more efficient so I could do more for my clients. And that's how we have to start looking at AI, not from fear, but how can I leverage it personally in my business, me as a salesperson, if you're an individual, how can I leverage this so I could do more and better for my clients? And we need people like you to be able to help us do that. That's the long and short of it. And again, I'm going to end with, I love the word collaboration, because Ethan, I'm telling you, I'd never be able to create what I'm looking to create without you. So again, thank you for being part of my team. And anybody that's interested, I'm going to give you Ethan's info. His email is ethanrobertcasin@gmail.com. I'm going to put all the links in the show notes for sure. And then the website is subscribepage.io/ECAI Solutions. That's the name of Ethan's business, ECAI Solutions. And you do have a gift, which I will put in the show notes. It's called Marketing Maven. Can you tell everybody what that is when they click on that link?
Yeah, sure. It's kind of like a brief introduction into how AI can help you be like an augmented business, like augment your business processes, specifically in marketing. So Marketing Maven can help you create swipe copies, social media posts, and at the same time give you some marketing advice while giving you some real world examples. Let's say for how Google used these strategies, as well as any kind of personal advice that you would want to ask it to help you with your marketing efforts.
Wow,
So,
that's
yeah.
huge. Thank you so much. That's a great gift, everybody. Sign up, get that gift. Because we can all, here's the other thing too, Ethan, I know Denise handles all my social media stuff, thank God. Because again, it's beyond my scope. But I'll tell you that having these little cheat sheet tools, these strategies like that you're offering becomes really, really helpful. And again, whether you're organization, you're in a company, or you're a small business owner, these resources become super relevant. So thank you so much for sharing that. I really do appreciate it. Thank you again for being on, sharing your zone of genius with everybody, and of course, educating me even further. Because I'm a lifelong learner, and I want to remain relevant for my clients as well. So thank you so much, my friend, for being on. I love you. You know that.
Thank you so much, Connie. Love
Yes,
you too.
anytime. All right. I hope you guys will join me weekly as we question, build, and discover, no matter where you are on changing your sales game. Look, man, today was a good topic. This, I think, is still the tip of the iceberg from a knowledge point of view from us laymen, not data scientists like you, Ethan. But download the Marketing Maven, start somewhere to get comfortable with this topic if you're not, or download the Marketing Maven to play with it and see the capacity that these tools have for us to make our life just so much easier. Again, collaboration at the end of it is important. So again, reach out to Ethan if you have any questions for him personally. I will make sure I put all the links in the show notes. Ethan, thank you again, my friend. And thank you for joining me. You've been listening to Changing the Sales Game with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.com. I love you all. I am inspired that you are on this journey of changing your sales game with me and that you trust me weekly to tune in. You inspire me. I love you. And I'll see you all next week. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks again. Thanks again, Ethan.
So I'm Ethan Robert A. Casin. My business is ECAI Solutions. So this is changing the sales game with Connie Whitman. And we talked about AI and how it could help businesses. What we also talked about is augmented technologies as well. So I just wanted to share with you that you don't have to be scared about AI. It is scary if you don't know about it, but there's a lot of people out there in the world that will be willing to help you to navigate all of this complexity and all of this confusion. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ethan. And tune in, everybody. We talked really about AI. Ethan is a data scientist. I learned so much. So please, he gave me his answer and I made sure I understood. So tune in. I think you'll find it enlightening. I think you'll find it fascinating. And if nothing else, you're going to become super curious. So Ethan, thank you again. And everybody enjoy the show. Really well done. Thanks again.